afternoon, people. How are you? It's good to know. Good to know. All right, fine. So, a lot of well noise. I have been on a personal journey trying to figure out what's true. And a lot of you know that spiritually I don't agree with the Bible at all. It's not because I feel like people should just be able to live their lives out willy-nilly. It's just I don't believe the Bible is the original documentation of said guidelines. There's been a lot of unearthed information that predates the Bible by many, many centuries. And that's going to lead me on the quest to find out what was really in the beginning. Like, what is the beginning of the information on how to live, or should I say, what, the guidelines on how to live and be a respectful person, kind, caring, and loving. And a lot of people, the Bible. Well, here's my problem with the Bible, or in the Bible believers, is you didn't know about the Bible before, or should I say, our people didn't know anything about the Bible before slavery. In fact, the Bible wasn't translated until about 2 to 4 years before they start sending slave ships to pick us up in Africa. So let's just keep it 100. I think if it's just the inherent word of God, and it's been around for more than 2,000 years. Christ had been on the cross some 2,000 plus years ago. You can't keep saying 2,000 years. Every year we keep going forward. You can't just say 2,000 years. 2,000 plus years ago was next. Then this alleged word would have been around for quite some time. And it just doesn't make sense. A lot of the timeline of the Bible doesn't make sense, particularly because there are no dates and time in the actual Bible. Like, this is supposed to be inspired by God the Father himself, who is completely by the book. Like, everything is strict and damn, it has been done like this and done like that. I would presume that would be the type of God that would put dates and times in such an important piece of documentation, such an important piece of literature, that there be dates and times to go back. And for those who want to ask, well, Victor, what brought you away from this? You must have read something. What brought me away from it was trying to prove it. Trying to prove that it happened, that it exists, and it's not adding up. It seemed more and more like a fairy tale, like the flood. The flood, if you do the calculations on how high the flood waters were, it was 22 feet. There's no way in the world 22 feet can cover the smallest mountain. 22 feet of water's not that tall. I know the mountains didn't form until like afterward. The mountains formed afterward is the best answer you got. And that should tell you something about yourself. Like, are you afraid to really see the truth? And my thing is, with Christians who want to hold on to the Bible, what if the Bible, just work with me, what if the Bible was really written by man as opposed to inspired by God? And he put this out to say, okay, this is going to have enough good in it, or what seems like enough good in it, to hold people onto it, like scenario word of God. But we're not, we're going to change it up just enough to get what we want out of it, to keep the minds and the spirit of any particular people sedated. And we don't want to believe that. We want to say, oh no, this has got to be the word of God. How do you know? There's no dates. There's nothing in the Bible that helps you go back and prove and say without a shadow of doubt, hey, this happened. You can't find it. There's no grave sites for anybody. For anybody. The mother of Jesus' his brothers. Sorry about that. Like, there's none for nobody. And you can't tell me they don't believe in burial vote because Jesus was allegedly buried in a borrowed man's tomb. And then he rose from that. So they do believe in burial. They're not savages. Well, they're just like, all right, we're just going to throw this body over in the corner. Keep moving. No. There had to be grave sites for somebody. Even if the body was looted and everything that was still useful, like there's clothing that was somewhat preserved, and they was, thieves want to steal it because we found the body of Paul Saul of Tarsus and all this. Then it would have. Somebody would have found something. It would have a headstone, anything. Like no one in the Bible has a gravesite. No one. It don't make sense to me. It doesn't. It doesn't add up. And I know you're saying, well, you have to have faith, man. You gotta. Well, they took. So folk literally destroyed all the grave sites from everybody in the Bible. Everybody. Every name that's mentioned in the Bible that had a grave site, all of those were destroyed. Really? They didn't have airplanes back then. You can't just fly let me fly to the next state. Let me fly to the next country. I'm going to destroy it. I know, well, John is over here. Not that John, the other John. And we go destroy his grave site too. In the name of Satan. Really? You know how long it would take for them to travel to find every grave site because they have to travel, even if they travel with an animal, horse, camel, whatever, donkey. It would take them 3 lifetimes. Because by the time the Bible was written, according to biblical literature, man didn't live a long time like that anymore. He lived, and if he did live that long, he still got old and feeble. So what I'm saying is, take an objective. If you want to believe it, that's fine, okay? But take an objective look at it and say, okay, and really just think about it. Is this really the inerrant word of God, or is this a copy of what God would truly have us to do? That was fashioned in a way to keep my ancestors, to try to keep my ancestors from rising up and rebelling against the masters. Because once you got the mind of a person, the body's going to follow. Harriet Tubman said it best. She said, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if they knew they were slaves. And another thing, the word religion, look up its synonym. Look up its synonym. Say, what is the synonym for religion? And you will be very surprised on what you find. And for those of you who will probably cut me off, who've been to cut me off, you have to ask yourself at that point, are you still a Christian? Did your Jesus cut off Nebuchadnezzar when Nebuchadnezzar said, hey, you almost had me, I was almost convinced? I don't think so. I honestly feel like the church has been a joke, and the reason why I say that is because it seems like it looks like high school. You get dressed up to go and put on your best look and impression of doing well for a lot of folk who have their own individual cliques, like high school. Talk bad about the person who doesn't fit in, like high school. That goes and only participates in other congregations, really, for the most part, to show up and show out. Oh, we in big numbers here. We love this family because you're frenemies with your sister congregation. Frenemies like you was in high school. And it's just so silly to me. It's like, yo, I can't get with that. Another reason why I can't get with that, and I got a problem, is because I look back on everything I was taught and everything I learned growing up. And I look at the state of the neighborhoods that the church is in. They are no better than they were when I was 13 years old. I'm 33. 20 years have passed. And that's the same neighborhood that you're supposed to be giving the gospel in and working on and helping to develop. Spiritually, it still looks the same. Really? 20 years and it still looks the same at best. Most look worse. Most look worse. 20 years now, you got to show for it. Is at least it don't look no worse. Like that can't be God. Like, where's the God in that? Where's the godliness in that? Like, how can you be located as the central hub for spirituality or getting close to God neighborhood, and it still looks like God passes over, like almost like God's too scared to be in the neighborhood. Drug dealing is more rampant. Prostitution is more rampant. Very sure molestation is more rampant. But you got a church around the corner. 3 or 4 of them, depends on if you go to 6. Go to the 6, Eastwood. You got 3 or 4 churches within 2 miles of each other. Literally in 2 miles, you got about 3 or 4 churches. Bam, bam, bam. Up the street, down the street, around the corner. And it still looks the same. And y'all wonder why y'all lose numbers? Why they falling by the wayside? Because ain't nothing getting done. There's no, where the programs, all this money the congregations take up all these years just to have a pretty building. Where the programs to teach black folk financial literacy? And I know you, black folk like crabs in a bucket. Let's address that. I want to address that. That is the stupidest, and I'm not going to cuss, but that's the stupidest ish I've ever heard. It took me up to this point to realize that's a stupid saying. Of course, you put any group of people and you put them in a confined area with limited resources, limited money, limited food, limited water, and pretty much forget about them until you need something from them, like your vote. You need something for them like somebody tax, some way to get some type of government stipend, whether it's a government assistance program, whatever. Then yeah, you're going to see the worst in people. If you look at a crab, its environment, its habitat is not a freaking bucket. It is the vast ocean for most, and a large fresh body of water for some. That's plenty of space to move around and find food, scavenge for food, catch prey, make waste. All because you put a whole bunch of crabs in a bucket doesn't mean they're not going to start. They're going to stop defecating. Like, we all in the bucket, man. I gotta hold it. No, they're going to keep defecating. So you got you got a bucket full of water with crabs, and there's feces in the water, and the crabs know there's feces in the water, and they want out. Well, I see you getting out. I'm finna hold on to you, not necessarily just to pull you down, but I'm gonna hold on to you because maybe I'm trying to get out too. I might be a little heavier than you are, so guess what? You have the strength to pull me up, so you're gonna come back down, or however it doesn't, it doesn't matter. That's not the proper environment for a crab. The vast bodies of water on this planet, where they just now, over the last recent 5 to 10 years, able to actually get to the depths of the ocean, the very bottom of the oceans, and show us the strange but living life that's down there. Yes, they're going to act out of kilter. They're going to act out of pocket because that's not their environment. You don't put a whole bunch of humans in a small space with limited resources, limited availability to the best jobs. Most jobs that are pay well are not, or nowhere near close to the hood. All the jobs that pay that close to the hood pay usually, typically, minimum wage. So you make just enough to stay in the hood. You don't make enough to get out unless you're going to work a second job. But here's the problem. If you got a child, especially as a single mother, and your child is young, you don't want your child with just anybody. That's how these babies get molested and raped and beaten, abused. So now you stuck between a rock and a hard place trying to figure out what's going on, but your local church that you go to and you pray to Jesus don't have any programs to help you as a mother, to watch your babies with the saints, where they can nurture their child's mind while you trying to go and work these two jobs. Better than that, they don't have any program set to help you become financially literate. Well, instead of you getting your income tax and buying a car that you only going to keep for 6 months because you really don't make the type of income to get that car, but the salesman, they'll gas your ass up. They'll gas you up into buying anything and say, yeah, it's enough. The reason why salesmen ask you what is your gross income is so it can make it look better when they present it to the banks, and the banks say, okay, let's loan it. They don't ask you what your net income is. What you keep. Is what you actually have to work with. Your gross income is what you make before Uncle Sam reaches in your back pocket and takes his cut. So that's that little bit of that's a nugget for you. The church has no programs for financial literacy. Has no programs to put people in a position to learn trades. Has no programs that teaches about building wealth. Has no programs that help single moms and single dads out so they can work a job and go to school. And the baby has a safe, caring environment that they can be in where they can learn something. They can develop their mind. They don't have to see a lady going, getting taken around the corner and give her body up for some drugs. They don't have to see the neighborhood junkie overdosing. They don't have to see the drug dealers. They don't have to see that. They can actually come somewhere where God's supposed to be. Where love is supposed to be. Where the people who's supposed to have a peace that passeth all understanding is supposed to be. Where you can nurture that mind so they don't perpetuate the BS that they see in that neighborhood. Now you heal the hood. Instead of watching people do the same thing. Oh man, it's not getting no better. I hate that. Y'all, the Christians that do that, you get on my nerves. Because you full of crap. Oh, it just ain't getting no better. Oh no, it ain't getting no better. You ain't doing no better. You are not trying anything other than the same lazy, I don't want to do nothing to actually get out there and work for my spot in heaven rhetoric. Well, we're going to pray for the hood. You've been praying for over 20 years. It still looks the same. Nothing has changed. It's gotten worse. At best, it looks the same. But most of the cases, it's gotten worse. More dilapidated buildings. More boards going up. Then we look crazy at the Mexican-American community. They come in, they buy properties, new houses everywhere. You tell them we can't do that? Well, the church really can't do that. Okay, well, the church can't set up a committee. You can't have two separate, you do it anyway. The building fund, no. How about the the Neighborhood Development Fund. How about that one? That sounds awesome. Neighborhood Development Fund. Well, see, the people, no, I don't want to hear that crap. If the same excuse you can make for not developing the neighborhood is the same excuse you need to make every time you open those doors and nobody comes in. Except for the same people that have been there the last 20 years, doing the same thing, talking about the same thing, just with different outfits. Maybe. We going. How long? Get your little growth spurts in there. But then life hit them. You know what? The craziest and the realest burst from a song I ever heard was off of Jay-Z's album, The Blueprint 3. And that back then when I first heard it, I was mad. Big mad. Christian, religious. Mr. Religious. What? Jesus can't save his life. I'll never listen to that track again. It took me up to this year to realize what this man was saying. It was no disrespect to religion, but for most people, unlike a lot of us, myself included, when church is over, real life begins again. Oh, how I love Jesus, and the feeling, and the hugs, and the I love you, and I miss you, and I care, that goes out the window. Fast. Reality sets back in for folk. They see the drug dealers. They see the prostitutes. They see the ever so present, the ever so not so present, but heavily present police presence. Try saying that 5 times fast. They see the young men who really don't. They were born into this, and the only father figures they have are the drug dealers, because their real dad ain't around, or he's in jail, or he done got shot, and he dead and gone. See, the hood ain't gonna never get no, because the church ain't doing nothing in the hood but taking up space. That's why the hood don't get better. Yeah, I'm coming out to church. I'm coming out to every Church of Christ in DFW, because I've been to every Church of Christ and all the black ones. I can say that. And I grew up in the church, and we do the same thing now that we did when I was 5 years old. Ain't nothing changed. We don't develop the hood. We just do a lot of praying. Oh, praying. That is the laziest thing you can do. I'm going to say it. It is. Because it's your get out of work card. Instead of getting out there and buying up properties for cheap and then developing homes and creating spaces for people to go, after you teach them financial literacy and how to build wealth and how to be homeowners, instead of how to be niggas and bitches and drug dealers and hoes and degenerates and deviant-minded, which is all you talk about in your sermons, but you don't teach them how to get out of that. You say, oh, God is going to get you and going to hold you and he's going to bring you up. He's going to wrap you in his arms and and it feels good. But you left me with no life skills. My dad's gone. Teach me something. My mama's a drug addict. Teach me something. There's a congregation I went to a while that I spent a fair amount of my time at worshiping. Plenty of people with life skills. But you're not teaching nobody anything. Yet you call yourself a Christian. Because you don't want to get out your comfort zone. That means you got to take off your nice suit. You can't go to Saltgrass. Better not drive the Lexus up in the hood. Not that new one. You better go get that old truck and put on your old skivvies. Don't look like no meal ticket. Y'all wonder why the hood don't respond. People don't know how much you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Case in point, my dad. And I was a young age. And shout out to this woman. She knows who she is if she ever seen this video. She told me. She spent most of her adult life in prison. And when she got out, she was institutionalized. And my dad took her under his wing. None of that, let me finesse the situation. Literally took him on his wing, to help her regain her mind and her independence. And at first I was like, dang, man, dang, you know, dang, I can't, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Mind you, all the other Christians that knew her growing up wrote her off. Shout out to you. Big thumbs up. That woman went from sleeping in a tight little ball with her back against the wall on her bed, like it was a full size, to living by herself comfortably, being able to drive her own vehicle comfortably. Like she had something, she didn't know how to shop for herself. Grocery shopping. So yeah, something that simple. She didn't know how to, because they take all the away from you. They do for they tell you when to move, when to breathe, when to fart, when to use restroom, when to shower, when to brush your teeth. She had to unlearn all that and get back into society so she can be a functioning person. My pops worked with her, and she feels forever indebted to him to this day. And they still chop it up on the phone. She's doing poetry now. Poetry phenom, making waves. That's the stuff I'm talking about. So when you say, oh, the adults you can't, they, you don't know this, you ain't trying. You are lazy. And you honestly don't give a damn out the hood. Take your church and all your fake ass Christian members and go somewhere where you can be comfortable, where you can really do nothing, and then allow a real organization, a real group that actually cares about its ministry. Go into these neighborhoods and help these folk get themselves out of the situation. Well, we tried. You try to save people. Allegedly. You keep opening up your doors. You hadn't stopped doing that. So miss me with that BS. We tried, it didn't work. No, you tried just enough until you got frustrated because of your self-hatred and the way your mind works. See, I'm and I can't talk about anybody because my initial thought, if you in from the hood, you're a bad person. God don't love you. It's your fault you in the hood. Now that I've grown up and I've seen history, hashtag redlining, hashtag any black family or black couple that could live in nice white neighborhoods were ran out. The landlords didn't care because they love green more than they hated your skin tone. They love, what's happening, Chief? They loved green more than they hated your skin tone. So they take your money. But yes, white folk, you getting called out, your ancestors. But they didn't want black folk. Even if you could afford it, you had more money than them. You got more money than them. But they didn't want you in their neighborhood. They ran you out. So you had to come to the south side or the west side. Martin Luther King Boulevard. Fact. Prove me wrong. I'll wait. You put in the comments. I'm going to say this. These few things, I'm trying to shut it down in the next 5 minutes. Because I can really go in. I can give y'all a sermon on about how trifling Christianity is and its Christians. Because I was one up and I did the same song and dance. So it's not conjecture. I'm not talking outside of my neck. This stuff I lived and I participated in. So miss with that. Well, you didn't know, shut up. Shut up, stupid. In fact, I was youth minister. At one point in time, and I actually preached at one point in time, but we was doing the same thing, the same song and dance. And shout out to my mentor. Hopefully I don't offend you. If I do, brother, I'm sorry. But you know this is true. The same song and dance. The same song and dance. And nothing's changed. And folk wonder why they can't keep people in church. They want to go to the feel-good place. They rather go, might as well go and have a good time, huh? Especially if you're not going to do any work. Ain't no real work going to get done. Well, I won't be inundated on what I'm supposed to do, but you ain't nobody going to do no real work. Nobody really wants to break a sweat. You feed people once a year. That's cool. That's nice. You take collection every week. I know, congregation. This building is paid for. It's building is paid for. Where the program's at? Where's the offsite building? They don't even have to be on the church campus. Okay, don't be in the church campus because you're in the hood. Churches getting broken. That was the one I grew up in the beginning over there off of Hattie. Broke into it, steal the copper. But where are your programs that are in place so the next generation doesn't have to perpetuate that? Even if you can't get the minds of the adults, Frederick Douglass said, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Get the minds of the babies. Teach them coding. Teach them mechanics. Teach them how to be a mechanic, how to be an electrician, how to be plumbers, how to be HVAC techs. Skills that they can always use. I have my degree as a biomed. I'm not doing biomed stuff right now. And the longer I'm not in biomed stuff, is the less likely I'll ever be able to get back in. So that's $25,000 in school loans that I got that really didn't help me. Well, it did and it didn't help. My mind was shaped, and I think different. I think wealth. I'll say that. And that's if things work the way I'm working them and planning, it'll be worth in the long run. So every that's $25,000 investment to my brain. But the babies ain't gonna do that. Not everybody needs to go to college. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. The mechanic just needs to know the difference between oil, low-key, oil in transmission fluid and where it needs to go. And learn everything else. That's a skill you can always keep. People always don't need vote. And then you can say, okay, well, he's a mechanic. Eventually, electric cars. Okay, well, then he needs to hook up with the electrician. Excuse me. And they can cross-reference each other's skills. And he can learn about electricity and how that works. And he can be an electromechanic. Well, I'm not going to be working on old schools no more. Guess what? I'll be working on the Teslas. And all those type of cars. Cool. Plumbers. Everybody need to take a dump. I don't care who you are. I don't care how cool you are. Everybody take a dump. The problem is when what you flush down starts coming back up. Guess who you calling? You calling that plumber. You're going to break off that bread. I'm sorry, I don't care how cool you are and how prestigious you talk, how much money you make. You can have a 6-figure salary. Make $500K a year. If your toilet is overflowing, babe, I make, $500K a year. Your wife ain't staying in the house. Your shawty ain't staying in the house. How somebody like poop, like a week's worth of feces, bro, you kidding yourself. She out. So you need that. You need HVAC techs. Nobody wants to be cold in the wintertime. And nobody wants to be hot in the summer. They always got work. Why aren't you teaching people? Why aren't you teaching babies how to code? Unless an EMP hits this country and wipes out all electronics, these babies need to learn how to do code, how to be coding. Why don't you teach them about Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum and things like that? Why don't you teach them how to buy land? Why aren't you doing that? So they don't have to sell the drugs. So they don't have to see. Jesus can't save your life starts from church. So when the services are over, they don't have to go back to a living hell. Which skews with their idea that there's a Jesus, that there's a God. You know how damaged they can be? How much it might be hurting somebody's self-esteem to go to church and hear about Jesus and love, and then they go see their neighborhood where they live and saying, well, where he at? Don't like you here. He don't love me. You just think about that? No, you don't give a damn. Because you get in your very nice vehicle. You turn on your cool seats when it's hot, heated seats when it's cool, and you float down the road onto the tall grass or Carrabba's or some other high-end restaurant, and you have your filet mignon with grape poupon. You fare sumptuously. Try to take you a nap and come back to service and talk about how you love Jesus. How you make sure them doors are locked while you roll through the hood to the congregation that's in the hood. That's supposed to help the hood that looks the same as it did 5 cars ago. And you can't believe people are leaving the church. Christians, y'all talk a good game, but ultimately, y'all ain't about that life. Before you say, well, man, it's hard. Ain't you the same people that said, if God be for me, who can be against me? Aren't you the same people that said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me? Didn't Jesus go to the people? Or do you stay hold up behind 4 walls talking about some ha-sha-la-la-la, or whatever you're doing? And that's what's supposed to be shut this down. I'm sorry, I'm so passionate about seeing a change in the hood. If you're a Christian that says the hood ain't going to never get no better, then you ain't a Christian. Because that means you have no faith. Probably reason why the hood look the way it is. It's your fault. I'm blaming you. You watching this video and says you're a Christian. You have no faith. Your prayers aren't working. God's not hearing you because it looks the same at best, or it looks worse. Or you can chalk it up to the fact that you're lazy and you really don't want to get out there and work for what you say you believe is waiting on you on the other side. I'm sorry. Not sorry. That's all I talk about in this one, man. I might do a part 2 because I really want to go in, but I need to go in, grab a bite to eat, take care of my business, and get back to work. Doing a favor, figure out how to build wealth, teach my kids about wealth, possibly buy some property in the hood, possibly create a center with some good folk who care about the hood, that they want to see these children not do the same thing their parents did, not end up in jails or in the grave like their moms and dad, whether it's drug overdose, bullet overdose from police, or just spend the rest of your life in prison. You know, somebody has to do the work. And it's not about sitting inside of 4 walls talking about doing work while you're thinking how you're not going to get your suit dirty and new one that you just bought. Anyway. All right, guys. Hey, I still love you. I have to call out the BS, man. I just have to call it what it is. BS. Because it'll never change unless somebody calls it out first. Until we recognize we have a problem. Then we do a lot more talking than we actually do it. So with that, peace and blessings. Please share this video. And leave your opinion. You can disagree with me, that's fine. Just make sure you're ready for the rebuttal, because I am going to say something back. If you make a comment with no real validity behind it, it's just like one of the little snarky comments because you feel like you had to say something, I'm going to make you feel it. And I'm going to use your very Bible to make you feel it. So, peace and blessings. Catch you guys on the flip side. I say.